AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiance's daughter stay with us and causing a huge family feud. So, here's the situation. My 34F sister, 31F, is getting married next month. She's engaged to a guy named Mark, 38M, and they've been together for about 2 years. Mark has a daughter, Lily, who is 12, from a previous relationship. I don't really know much about Lily because my sister and Mark tend to keep their personal lives pretty separate from the rest of the family. Up until recently, I've met Lily only a handful of times during brief visits. My sister and I have always been close. We grew up in the same house and lived near each other until recently when I moved about 2 hours away for work. We keep in touch regularly, and I've always been involved in her life. Mark, on the other hand, is a bit of a mystery to me and my family. While he's polite enough, he has a reputation for being controlling and difficult, especially when it comes to his daughter. Now, here's the issue that blew everything up. A couple of weeks ago, my sister told me that Lily's mother is going overseas for a 6-month work assignment. Because Lily can't stay with her mom during that time, Mark asked my sister if Lily could stay with her and me while he travels frequently for work. My sister was torn because she doesn't want to take on full-time custody of Lily, but she also didn't want to say no to Mark, especially since they're getting married. So my sister asked me if I would be okay with Lily living with us during the week. I work from home mostly, and Lily would visit her mom on weekends or whenever possible. I was caught completely off guard. I don't have kids, and while I'm good with kids in general, I'm not prepared for this kind of responsibility. Also, our apartment is not set up for a child, and I didn't want to disrupt my life that drastically. I told my sister I wasn't comfortable with it. I explained that having Lily live with us would mean a complete change in our routines, finances, and lifestyle. I don't have the means or time to care for a child, and frankly, I'm not ready to be a parent figure to someone I barely know. My sister was disappointed, but said she understood. Then she told me Mark was furious when she told him I refused. He accused me of being selfish and not supporting their family. He insisted that since we're going to be one family soon, I should step up and help out. He even said if Lily doesn't live with us, she'd have to go into foster care because no one else in the family would take her. This was a massive shock. Foster care? I doubted that was true, but I couldn't argue with it because I don't have insight into their family situation. I told my sister to verify this with Mark or his ex, but she said she couldn't get a straight answer. Now, because I refused, my sister started avoiding me. She says she feels like I'm prioritizing myself over family and that I'm being unfair to Lily. My parents are caught in the middle and have been pressuring me to reconsider because they want the family to be together and support each other. I tried suggesting alternatives. Maybe Lily could stay with Mark's sister who lives nearby or in a daycare arrangement. But Mark and my sister say those options aren't possible. The tension has grown so much that our family gatherings have become awkward. My sister and Mark barely speak to me, and my parents have stopped inviting me over as often. I'm beginning to feel like I'm being unfairly painted as the villain here. I want to support my sister and her future family, but I also need to set boundaries that I'm comfortable with. Taking on a 12-year-old for 6 months is a huge deal, and I don't think I should be forced into it, especially under emotional pressure. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to let Lily stay with us? Should I just suck it up and take on this responsibility, or am I justified in saying no? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé stay in my house after she demanded I accommodate him, even though she left me out of her wedding planning. So, this is a long and complicated situation, and I'm hoping to get some perspective on whether I'm actually the asshole here or if my sister and her fiancé are just being unreasonable. I'll try to give all the relevant details without rambling too much, but fair warning, it's a lot. My sister, let's call her Emily, and I have always had a pretty complicated relationship. We grew up with a lot of family drama, mostly stemming from our parents' messy divorce and some toxic family dynamics that lingered for years. I won't go into all that because it's not directly relevant, but suffice it to say, Emily and I have never been super close, especially as adults. About a year ago, Emily got engaged to her boyfriend. Let's call him Josh. They've been together for a few years, and while I always thought Josh was kind of a jerk, I try to keep my opinions to myself because I wanted to support my sister. When they got engaged, Emily started planning a wedding and kept me completely in the dark about everything. No invites to the dress fittings, no asking for my opinion on anything, nothing. I was hurt, but tried to brush it off, thinking maybe she just wanted to do her own thing. Fast forward to a couple of months ago. Emily called me out of the blue, very upset, and said Josh had lost his job and was going to need a place to stay for a few weeks while he looked for something new. She asked if he could stay in my house. I live alone in a decent-sized apartment in a big city, and while I'm not rolling in money, I have enough space to offer him a couch or a spare room temporarily if it's only a few weeks. I agreed to think about it, but told her I needed more details. How long exactly, what kind of arrangements they expected, and so on. She basically said, just say yes, it's family. When I asked if she and Josh would be staying with me too, she said no, just Josh. That already made me a little uneasy because it seemed odd to send a fiancé to crash at his future in-laws' siblings' place without either of them being there. I also told her up front that I don't have a ton of free time right now. Work is crazy, and I'm dealing with some personal stuff. So if Josh stayed, I wouldn't be able to be around much or help out more than letting him have the space. She said that was fine. Then things started to get weird. Emily started sending me increasingly urgent texts asking if I'd said yes yet. I kept telling her I was thinking about it and trying to figure out if I could swing it. Meanwhile, I found out through mutual friends that Emily had already sent out save the dates and started booking vendors for the wedding without telling me. I was deeply hurt by this because, while we aren't close, I always expected to be included or at least told what was going on. Eventually, I told Emily I didn't feel comfortable having Josh stay with me because I wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility and didn't want to disrupt my life on short notice. She blew up on me, calling me selfish and accusing me of not supporting her or caring about her future husband. Things came to a head a week ago. Emily came over unannounced with Josh, demanding to sort this out now because Josh had nowhere else to go and the wedding was coming up. I told her firmly that I wasn't going to let him stay and that if she wanted to discuss the wedding or anything else, we could do that later. She left in tears, saying I was ruining everything and that she didn't know why I hated her so much. Since then, family members have been contacting me, some taking Emily's side and others telling me to stand my ground. I'm caught in the middle and honestly exhausted. I feel like I have a right to set boundaries, especially since she excluded me from the wedding planning, but I also don't want to be seen as the villain. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé stay at my place despite her demands and the fact that they're planning a wedding? Or should I have just put my feelings aside to help them out? AITA for refusing to host my sister's wedding after she demanded I pay for half the venue costs, even though I'm not part of the wedding party. This whole situation has spiraled way out of control, and honestly, I'm still shocked that my own sister could treat me this way. To give some context, I, 28F, have a sister, Emily, 30F, who is getting married next year. We've always had a complicated relationship, but for the most part, things were fine until the wedding planning started. Our parents are divorced, and Emily and I don't really talk about our personal lives much, but I was hoping that we could at least be supportive of each other during this time. Emily and her fiancé have been engaged for about 6 months now, and from the start, the wedding planning has been a financial nightmare for everyone involved. Emily insisted on a very elaborate wedding, large venue, expensive catering, and a big guest list. It's clear that this wedding is important to her, and I respect that. However, the way she's gone about asking for help and money has been increasingly frustrating. A few weeks ago, Emily called me out of the blue and said they had finally found the perfect venue, but it was over budget. The total cost for the venue was $15,000, which was more than they expected. Then she dropped the bomb. She wanted me to pay half of the venue cost. When I told her I wasn't in the wedding party and didn't see why I should be responsible for that, she said it was fair because I was family and should contribute to such an important family event. I tried to explain that I was happy to support her in other ways. helping with invitations, assisting with decorations, or anything else, but that money was not something I could or should be forced to provide, especially for a venue they chose without consulting me or any other family member. She then said that since I was refusing to help, she was considering uninviting me altogether. This was the first real crack in our relationship around the wedding. I was hurt and confused because I didn't think money would become such a sticking point, especially between siblings. I talked to our parents, hoping they might mediate or help Emily understand my position, but it only made things worse. Our mom said I was being selfish for not wanting to chip in and that Emily was going to need family support. Our dad, while more understanding, didn't really want to get involved beyond offering some advice. Since that conversation, Emily and I have barely spoken. She started to post subtle digs on social media about family members who don't support her big day, which I took as a shot at me. Meanwhile, I've been feeling extremely stressed because I'm already dealing with my own financial struggles. I recently moved into a new apartment, have student loans, and am saving for a graduate degree. The last thing I need is an unexpected $7,500 bill for a wedding venue I'm not even part of. After trying to reason with her and failing, I told her directly that I wouldn't pay for the venue, and if that meant I wasn't welcome at the wedding, so be it. I thought she'd maybe come around or at least try to find a compromise. Instead, she went full no contact and told other family members that I'm being cold and unsupportive. Now, I'm hearing from extended family that Emily is trying to cut me out and is even considering asking our parents to withhold my wedding invitation, which I hadn't thought about because I'm not engaged yet, but it feels like she's punishing me for something I don't think is unreasonable. I'm torn because I want my sister to be happy and have a great wedding, but I also feel like she's asking way too much. I don't believe that family members should be forced to pay for expenses just because they're related, especially if they're not directly involved in the wedding party. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to pay half the venue cost for my sister's wedding even though I'm family, or is she being unreasonable by demanding it and threatening to exclude me from the wedding?